I've been considering. Do you know why Donald keeps saying that this is the golden age? And they refer to this as the best dimension yet. Because we are flowing parallel to 2016. We have returned to an original timeline. 2016 felt like the last normal year because it was. It was. What happened was they ushered us into an inverted cycle of 10 years. A 10-year cycle that we didn't sign up for, where we were essentially offered up. And when I was thinking about it, it was not a destiny theft. That was not the case. And that's not to say that they didn't try to do that over the years as they recognized our power coming online through what they were putting us through before we even recognized what was going on. It wasn't a destiny theft. We were supposed to be a sacrifice, quite literally. And not only a sacrifice, we were a grand sacrifice. So our original ways of being, our luck, our gifts, our favor, our goals, our desires, all of that was inverted. And the more strife that they were able to put us through, the more that they were able to taunt us and break us down, the more that they gained. So these people were gaining accolades, they were gaining accomplishments, they were gaining successes up on top of all kinds of other things off of tormenting us, off of essentially getting us to the point where we were so broken down that it was easy to destroy us completely. And the thing about this 10-year cycle that we were put up in was by the end of this cycle, which is, it has ended. By the end of the cycle, we were supposed to be done. No more finito. We were supposed to be up out of here, or we were supposed to be so insane that we would forfeit what was meant to come back to us. So we've crossed a major threshold and we've made it back into an original timeline. That's why it's the best dimension yet, because it's an original, uninverted timeline where all that is naturally of us becomes apparent again. All that was stolen is returned. All that was hindered is unblocked. You more than likely saw glimpses of your natural essence throughout the years, despite what was going on around you, but you didn't have the knowledge, you didn't have the knowing, or even the eyes to see at that time. But it's because your energy is naturally called to you. You naturally beckon what is of you. So no matter how hard they try to hide it, to stuff it down, to hinder it, to block it, whatever, it always naturally sought you. So it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money for them to continuously place these blockages over this 10-year cycle, because 10 years was supposed to be generous for what they were going to accomplish with us. The 10 years was just like, oh, we got plenty of time to do this in 10 years. We can get it done in this much time. What they put into trying to keep us locked out of what was naturally ours only aided us further. And they were so arrogant in thinking that they could accomplish what they were accomplishing. And they got more and more arrogant as time went on because of how much they gained from it. And what they failed to realize is it was a high bargain at a high price. And they just knew they could get it done. And they think that they thought that they were above us, but you had to offer us up to gain anything at all. So how can you be above something that you offer just this one person up, and yet you're gaining so much just from that one person being offered up, and you stood to gain so much more once it was completed? So all of the accolades, all of the accomplishments, everything that they were gaining in the midst of this breaking down was minuscule into what was supposed to happen once the job was complete. People did so much. It's going to be so bad for them, and you're already starting to see the panic arise in them. They can't hide it. A lot of people who were able to hang on to their nice guy, nice girl personas, people are tripping out. It is no longer something that is hidden under the surface. And we see them clearly, and in us seeing them clearly, that's projected outward. Everyone around them is starting to see them clearly because the cycle is no longer inverted, it's back into place. the way it's supposed to. And I've been talking about how we're waiting for the immaterial and the material realms to realign, and that is a process, but it's happening. That major timeline disruption that occurred in 2016 was not natural. Anything that came following that high, that peak, it was supposed to keep going up from there. Anything that came following that was not natural. And I was thinking about CERN. And that they had a major breakthrough around 2016, which is about 8 years after they turned on their machine. Because they turned it on in 2008, which is interesting because who was elected in 2008? Anyway, they accomplished a major feat in that 2016. Or if it wasn't a feat, they did something that had not been done before by their standards, which was a complete timeline inversion. They took us off the golden path. They did so. They did. Pat on the back, they did it. But they were not aware that what they were doing was essentially ripping the realm apart piece by piece each time they did that. And I think they spent a very long time trying to correct it because eventually they did understand that this has consequences and they have been trying to get back here. And I think that's another reason why they turned their machine off when they did, not just for updates for maintenance, it's because we got back to the point where we needed to. And I don't think their machine was actually what did it. I think it was a natural, predestined point for us to arrive back at a certain point, and we did so. Critical mass was met. We made it by the skin of our teeth, or whatever that saying is. And what's happening now is a lot of the handler programs that came online around 10 years or so ago, they are failing, and they are failing rapidly. And there are no contingencies in place because it was not, by their standard, was not supposed to get here. It was not supposed to be like this. By this time, everything should have been done. They do not have an extension because this was supposed to be more than ample enough time for them to complete their goals. Their programs function as sacrifice programs themselves. So they don't have payment for whoever, whatever they were offering the light beings up to. These people are essentially dead men walking, and there are very hungry ghosts on their tails. And again, I don't think it was a swap because they were never equipped to handle the gifts that we carry or the gifts that were coming online for us through this 10-year period. And in fact, I do think if they even got to have a little taste of any sort of gifts that we have through their sacrifice program, it was just the tip of the iceberg. They did not get to experience the full range of motion of these gifts, and thus more of their frustration. Supposed to be a complete and utter annihilation of you. It was not that they were trying to take from you. They were literally sacrificing you and your destiny for their own gain because they could not take your destiny. There are certain beings here, you cannot take their destiny. So when we're getting into these discussions of destiny swapping, that's just not a thing for certain people. They were supposed to destroy your legacy before it began and rob the future of what you were supposed to give it. And they failed. And this is no small matter. These people, like I said, they are in a panic and they are trying to find all of these ways around, workarounds, because their people are dropping like flies. And it might be starting on like an outer level, so it's like friends of friends of friends. But it's getting closer and closer and closer, and it's going to hit them like rapid fire. The amount of people that it's going to take to even measure up to half of what you and your destiny would have been as an offering, insurmountable. They were never prepared for the carnage that comes with the mistake they've made, because they were so arrogant in thinking that this could be accomplished. It would take them hundreds of years to even get through a fraction of most of us. So for them to assume that all they needed was 10 years and 10 years was generous, it put them in a hole. And the lessons that we learned over these last 10 years only made us better, because some of us, we really did genuinely need to learn some things before we got to the land of milk and honey. People need you. And I don't mean need you as in they need you. I mean they need to offer you up. And there is a desperation in the energy. There is panic and desperation for these people, because it is you or them, when originally it was always just you. And they don't want it to be them, but it was never going to be you. So we are in the beginning phases of witnessing bloodline curses and karma that spans generations, maybe even millennia, through these people's lines. And it does not matter if they decide, well, I'm just not going to have kids. Because you're going to keep coming back. And you're going to keep going through that same very karma, and they're going to make sure you know.